Um, Today I'm gonna take the Rebelle Secret Shot apart so I can sand it. And I have a few different sandpaper types here. Oh, I also have a sander. So we'll see what can get this paint off and the texture on the back here. Hopefully underneath it's just white, and then I think I'm gonna have to get some white spray paint or something just to paint this part of the blaster here. Everything else, probably gonna leave the same. I'll probably paint the trigger here, and then what you call this, the tab, I guess. The tab here and the trigger here. This trigger's fine probably. In the front you want orange, of course, so yeah. So just the whole body, the triggers, and this part. So let's go ahead and open it up. And we all know how much I love this weird torsion spring in here. I'll actually be able to show you what it looks like, because I don't think I ever showed you guys on camera, because it's, every time I had to put it back together, it was a pain to put together. You definitely need to look at it pretty close. So when you pull this one out, this side has the screws in it, the really long screws. So the screw, if you can see it, put this down. So basically the screw part is from there to there, and then it's just nothing, no threading down here. So it can go in pretty easily, and then it tightens around basically into the bottom part here. So let's lift this button, take this off, just like that. This back comes off pretty easily. And this torsion spring is ridiculous. Because basically it's two. And if you look down on it, one side is longer than the other, just by like a smidge. And when you have to put it back together, see that hole right there, that little tiny hole? One of these, I believe it's the shorter one, has to go in that hole, and on this side it has a hole, as well. So basically you have to put one in there and then somehow stretch it and push it over to the other one with the other side. So it's a little difficult, but it's doable. But that's probably the hardest part about this blaster when you're putting it back together. But for now, we won't worry about that. And once you get this apart, actually, let me do that first, since we're talking about it. It's a pretty easy opening. It only has a few screws in it. And I think it goes into 3 pieces. And I'm actually going to probably take out all the screws and not leave them in here, because I will have to sand this and spray paint it, so don't really want to paint the screws. I mean, you can, it's probably not going to hurt it, but I'd rather not, just in case. And I believe all these screws are the same size. Looks like it, yeah. I got my booster shot today for COVID. I got a full dose as opposed to a half dose, which is usually for the general public, because I'm in immunocompromised, and I didn't even feel the shot. Like, compared to like the others I felt, but I have a feeling tomorrow my arm's gonna hurt a lot, because it's always the after effect. But a little pain for a lot of protection, it's worth it. There we go. So all the screws are the same except for this one, and this one is in the bottom here. That's fine. So basically, I guess you have 4 pieces. So you have one part of the back, one part of the back, and this is the butt part, I guess, as you would say. So it usually goes here, I think. Where's it go? Yeah, just like that. And then like that, right? So technically, if you wanted to, you could just paint this part, because this part isn't going to show. It's going to be covered by this. And if you really want to be thorough, I guess you can paint the whole thing, which I probably will, just because it's easier than taping all of it up and dealing with that mess. And then this piece. This is the piece that locks into the lock here when it opens. And it goes right in there just like that. So when these two halves are usually together, you know, it goes like that. Okay. And actually, do I need to paint this? Let me see. So it's usually like that. Yeah, I would. Maybe I might paint it red, since I already have red. I mean, I could do it all white, but it's the whole blaster itself, except for the handle, is going to be black and, or not black. Should I do black? What do you guys think? Black and red or white and red? Because I was going to do the whole thing white and then do a red cross on it. Or I can go, I guess, the, what would you call it? The Gothic style, where the whole thing is black, like the handle. And then this could be red. The trigger could be red or metallic. And then the cross on it would be red. Because it'd still be medical, it's just like the Gothic version. And I don't have white spray paint that I know of. I do have black though. And I do have red. So that might be the better option, just to save money on paint, because I don't have it. But yeah, I'm not real positive. I don't know, decisions. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about that. But let's go ahead and open this up. And I will have to take all the internals out. I'm going to try to do that very carefully, because I want to, usually when you take out internals, you want to try to keep all the internals together as much as possible. Even though if you do take a picture, you know, of the internals, it still helps. Taking out, you know, big combined pieces of it, so it's easier to load in as well. Because if you can load it in that easy, it's even better. And I'm actually going to use this. We don't need that in here. So actually, I'm going to start back here, take this one out, put him there. Yeah, that one. I'm not sure if these are all the same. I want to say yes, because so far they're looking like they are. I think this one's going to be a little bit smaller though, up in the front. No, that's nice. The handle, usually you take that off first, of course, but I'm just going in order of the blaster screws, because these screws that are for the grip, I'm just going to leave them in there because I'm not going to paint the priming bar here for now. If I do, yeah, we'll see. Decide that. Well, we'll decide that after you guys decide white and red or black and red. Because if it's black and red, I'll paint this part black, of course. If it's white and red, I'll paint this red. Just gonna put that together over here so I don't lose any of that. And usually if I take off a piece I'm not gonna really work on right away, yeah, I'm gonna leave the screws in. I'm actually going to screw the screws in a little bit just so they don't fall out on accident. I mean, I cleaned up my workbench here pretty well in the last couple of days. But you know, stuff can always fall behind the tool cabinet, you know, just wherever. Which I've had happen. I've had stuff actually fall and go under it because it just rolled under it. All right, we'll leave that there for now. With that stuff, and then onto the main part. I'm gonna go back to this area where we left off because this was under the slide. That there. One over here. And whenever you're taking apart a blaster for the internals, I usually try to put them in either a box or container of some sort just to keep them all together so I don't lose any pieces. So like when I get my packages for kits or parts or whatever, I usually save like little boxes just in case of projects like this where I need to put the internals of something all together in a box. So it's just very helpful. Keeps everything together. And once you put the internals in there, put that box somewhere where you won't kick it like over and it won't fall over, because that would defy the whole purpose. It wouldn't be good. Magnet. There we go. And last one. There we go. Okay. I think we just clamshell this thing open, just like that. Stuff is probably going to move, but that's fine. Just like that. So first thing I'm going to do is flip this side over, and I'm actually going to take this off because I need to sand down the whole thing, and if I want to color that piece, it needs to be off because it's going to be separate. So in the back here, it has a screw and a spring to it because it goes up and down. See? So what I'm going to do is hopefully take this screw out. Put that right there for now. Let's see, how's this come out? I think that's just stuck on there. Yeah. See if I can pull it off. There we go. Because it's friction fitted. So basically this piece goes in here, and then the screw goes through that white piece and then into here. So that's good. And then this piece you can just lift out. And I'm just gonna leave the spring on that. So now this side is completely ready to go to sand and paint. And then this part, let me get my box or tray or whatever. So I got this. I think this was a tray in one of my MK2 packages. So I just kept those. So I'm gonna put these in here. I'm actually gonna put this screw into the pink piece here, just so I know where it goes overall, just to keep. Because if there's more screws that come out, I want them to stay with their own stuff, right? Take the spring off. See how much I can take off of this whole thing. There's a handle, of course. There's this guy. We'll leave him together. See how much of this I can take out all at once. This is just like that. Okay, so that's good. So then let's see, what do we have left in here? We have the trigger, can take that out. Has a spring. We have a little screw down here holding this in. Not exactly sure what that is either. I think that's part of the triggering system. So that kind of screw has that kind of flat head to hold stuff down. And pull that guy out. I don't think it's connected to anything. So that's a weird spring. There's like a small spring, and then it just goes really wide at the very end there. That's pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it in there like that, and then put the screw just like that resting. Leave that alone. And then this last piece, let's see here. There's a little bit of material hanging on it. Let's see, how does this come out? There's a peg here. I wonder if I can just lift that out. Let's see. Take a flat head maybe. If something doesn't come out like at all, don't force it. Because right now I don't know how this is in there. I don't know if it's glued in or what. But I think it's just in there. And this is fine to leave in. It's not exposed anywhere out here. And you're not going to be drilling or putting any holes. So I'm just going to leave that in there. It's not going to cause a problem with the outside painting. I'm going to have this face down, you know. And the last parts you have to take out of the blaster, the better. I probably could have left that last part in, but I was already going for it. You know, work smarter, not harder, they say. So I'm going to go ahead and take these parts and put them on top of my tool bench over here, where I don't usually knock it. And the only way it's going to fall over is just if there's a earthquake or something. Okay, so that's out of the way. Okay, so these are the two basically main pieces that we need to sand first because of the coloring. I have this. I don't even know what grade this is. It's not that tough. This one's a little bit tougher. This is the, what number is this? This is an 80 grade. And then I have a 400 grade, which is a lot smoother. You can still feel like there's stuff on it though. And let's see the difference. So this is harsher than this. And this is harsher than this. And then for my sander, can't really see it because it's underneath all of this paint. All the yellow paint from that Recon. Alright. So basically I have one that's a triangle shape. I wanted this kind because A, I could plug it into my desk here and I can get really close edges. I didn't really want a circular one because Nerf blasters tend to have crevices, you know, like either along here, you know, or like in here. So it's hard to get with a round one. And I want one with like a flat edge because I mostly do edges. In this grade, let's see. This one's a little bit harsher than this, I believe. Yeah. We'll start with this one. If this doesn't do the job, I'll go to this one. Or even, if this doesn't work, I'll go to this one, the 80. And if it doesn't take it off, actually, let me start with the 80. Because I already tried that and it didn't do a lot. Before you start sanding, always make sure that there's nothing on there, like, you know, dust or anything. And I can already see that this one's going to scratch, so I don't want to use that one. That one is 2. Let me use some of this 400 and see how it goes. Because you want to take the paint off, but at the same time you don't want to scratch it. Because if you scratch it, the paint job's not going to be that good. I usually make little squares, you know, about palm size. If you do end up using a sander, always use protective glasses, because even though it's not, you know, chipping wood up you or sparks, you can still get, you know, dust in your eye from the material coming up. And you can already see some of the paint's coming off onto this. The good thing about this part of the shell is that there's no bumps or anything like this one. Like this has actual texture on it. When it's smooth, you just need to get rid of the color basically. Or if you're, I mean, in a reality sense, if I am doing black, I don't even need to sand this off. I can just paint over it. It may show through though, so that's why I'm doing this, just in case. I think usually you want to use a 120 grade, because it's usually in between really fine like this and that other one that I tried to use, the 80. And if you want to, I'm not showing it right now, but you could wear gloves and do this. I'm just half-assing it because why not? And I could always wash my hands after. This stuff will come off. It's just paint. So that's how much that one does. Let me use a sander just to show you the difference. Turn it on here. Okay, so as you can see, it's not as smooth as, you know, this piece. So it did scratch a little bit, not too much because I was moving it, but whenever you have a sander, if you do leave it in one spot like an iron, it'll just eat material and just go through it. So yeah, you're probably better off just using this, just by hand. I mean, potentially what I could do is I could like slap it on here and do it. Does this peel? I don't think so, but yeah. But you can get, you know, different pads, because those peel off on the sander. You can get pads that are this gradient that you can just slap on there and go to town on. I don't have any. I just have the 3 or 4 that it came with. And after I sand a piece like this where it's already smooth, and I get all the color off to see the actual stuff underneath, I'll usually take a wet rag and wipe it off so I can see how much is left versus how much I've taken off. Or you could just run this underwater. It's just plastic. You know, just run underwater and then dry it. The hardest parts, of course, are to get into the little notches here. Alright. Looked like it was at a rave or something. Let me go get a wet rag real quick. Okay, so I have a wet one, then I have a dry one right over here. It's probably better if you actually run the piece underneath water instead of doing this, but I don't want to take you guys into the kitchen and back here. Yeah, it's more effective if you're in the sink. But you get the gist of it. So a lot came off, as you can see. Most of it's probably on my fingers. But nothing will dawn and water won't fix. And that goes for the same thing like when you're spray painting. If you ever, well, number one, spray outside. You know, outdoors, probably in your backyard or whatever. And so it's highly ventilated. Never spray inside, and try to wear gloves, because if like you get the paint that I have, which is the vinyl dye that's used for cars and stuff, if you use that and you accidentally spray your fingers or something, you have about a minute to get it off before it stains your wherever it is on your body. So either use gloves just to be safe, or don't and have a sink close by and ready. Let's dry it off. Oh, I want to take the whole desk with me. So that's not bad. I just wanted to do one on this, little sanding down of this side, and then I'll do that side a little bit later, and then we'll do one of these. Now on this one, I would suggest the sander, just because it has all this stuff popping up. Unless you want to keep the design that's on there, the texture. I don't really, because I want it to be smooth. And usually you want harsher sandpaper for that, and especially a sander will help with taking off all this texture here. sorry for that loud noise, but that's what the sander sounds like. So you can dust this out. If you can wipe it down, you know, with the thing, it's not gonna really matter because you're not really taking off paint like this side. You're just trying to get the material off of the texture. So it's a little bit smoother. Still need to do more though, but it's getting there. Let's go for another round. Actually, put the glasses on. Forgot to do that last time. Okay, see what that feels like now. Should be a little bit better. It's a little bit better, but you know, you gotta keep working on it. And I noticed here, this is where all the warning labels were or whatever. You know, warning, do not, whatever. And I think there's some on this side as well, so that's gonna take a lot of grinding, you know, just to get all that junk off. But basically, you know, once you get to this point, low enough, you can always go to just the sandpaper. I'm just gonna try this guy real quick. The whole tool that is shaking. This may be a little early for this because I still feel, yeah, still feel it there. So I might have to use my sander more, but I think you guys get the gist of it. You know, just be careful when you use the sander. Make sure you get the right sandpaper. For this kind of stuff, the texture to get off, I'd recommend an electric sander, either one that's portable or plug-in, whichever, doesn't matter. For fine-tuning it down, I suggest the, what is this, the 400 or whatever, because that one's real thin, this one, or I guess this one. And then from going from basically one to the other, from the sander, which is really rough, to the smooth 400, I would suggest 120 grade. I don't have it at the moment. But that's usually the most common one to use when you're sanding down stuff by hand. But yeah, I'll keep working on this. And then tomorrow I think I'm going to do a tour of my, not necessarily warehouse, but where I keep all my stuff. So yeah, so that's basically a little bit of a tutorial of how you sand. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and work on this, and you'll see the video tomorrow, and I'll probably be sleeping a lot tomorrow. Alright, if you guys have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. Please like, follow, share, and subscribe if you're not. And